Hello gamers, and welcome back to another brand new video. Now nobody cares where I've been, but in the time I haven't uploaded, I've actually been paying off my alimony, revisiting old games.
Oh no, so you didn't juju on that bait!
And playing more CSGO. You now may be wondering which old games I might have been playing, but you most likely have read the title of this video, so it's based on
Maple Story. Maple Story. Maple Story. Maple Story.
Yes, Maple Story, my favourite 2D side-scrolling anime-based massively multiplayer online role-playing game, because it's the only one of the genre I've ever played. This game is as ancient as Pikmin 2, in fact, it's about a year older than it, coming out on the 29th of April in 2003, and I remember it well for its social aspect and surprisingly friendly community. I mean, the community is pretty much the complete opposite of what it is today, with people willing to help each other out and completing party quests together, also known as PQs. I'm gonna be honest though, when I played, I never really got that far into the game, seeing as how difficult it was to level up before the Big Bang update. And I think the highest level I ever achieved was probably around 50, so I never actually got to experience the 3rd or 4th job advancement for any class. This meant that I missed out on unlocking a lot of the abilities in the game, and never played much, if not any, of the mid to late game content. However, I still enjoyed experiencing monumental events, such as the first group to beat the Zircon or Horntail, and the first person to reach level 200 on GMS being Fangblade. Even though these events were in a completely different league to me, I still extremely enjoyed the simplicities of the early game, playing it on and off before and after the Big Bang update. If you've never played Maple Story, then I'll quickly fill you in on what the Big Bang update did to the game. Essentially, it changed the game for both the worse and the better. There are 4 main features that came with this update. These were changing the layout of Victoria Island, the overhauling of all the areas in the game, the revamping of the user interface, and what I'd say is the most important feature, the significant reduction in XP needed to level up. And man, is it a lot easier to level up. Here are some of the screenshots of my game time and the amount I've been able to level. Reaching 100 was never even a conceivable thought in my head when I was younger, as it took me about a month of quote-unquote hard work to even reach my record of 50, which could be due to my underdeveloped brain that didn't understand how to level properly, but I was like 7 or 8, so cut me some slack. This meant that reaching level 100 in about 5 hours really put into perspective how much the game has changed in the past decade. Due to this significant reduction of XP needed and adjusted layout of the map, it allowed for players to obtain XP much more efficiently via grinding and killing mobs instead of PQs, which led to the eventual decline of PQs, which are one of my favourite parts of the game. This consequently meant that instead of interacting with other players, people would instead favour going out to farm certain mobs, then travel to the next recommended area to do the exact same thing, rather than gather a whole team to complete a PQ, which might take around 10 to 20 minutes. This was both a good and bad in my opinion, as it allowed for more accessibility to those who didn't have enough time to commit to the game to complete PQs for hours, with minimal XP as a reward. However, it eventually led to a decline in the community that Maple Story had, with places such as the sewers at Kerning City, the tower at Ludobrium, and various other hotspots to become deserted in favour of faster XP gains. It was no longer worth the time nor the effort to complete PQs that made the early game so enjoyable, and I wish that they revamped them to make them more prevalent in the game, but alas, great things eventually come to an end. Gameplay wise, Maple Story was pretty much the same before and after the Big Bang patch. Nothing really changed since you can't really adjust the fundamentals of a 2D side-scrolling game after all. New classes are surprisingly still being created, with the character I'm currently playing being Pathfinder, which only came out in June of last year, and the game has maintenances occurring as recent as the 18th of July to help improve quality of life and implement bug fixes. The game essentially plays the exact same as it did back in the day, but with flashier skills and level up animations. So I can feel better about procrastinating and not making this video sooner. Even though it hasn't changed that much, the game is still enjoyable as you endlessly kill infinitely spawning enemies so you can fulfill your psychotic tendencies, and then kill stronger enemies as an infinite cycle of murder and leveling. This epic cycle also includes some extremely groundbreaking gameplay in which you speak to someone, then kill things, then speak to someone, then kill more things. And then maybe you'll have to kill things and collect items, and then you speak to someone and then kill more things. It's honestly quite monotonous if you look at it that way, but the new skills you unlock, the new gear you get, the music you can listen to, and the new places to explore allow for an enjoyable experience in which you can lose hours of your time without even realising it. Not only this, but the monster designs are actually very nice, with unique designs for each mob that fits the location that it would be found in. Examples of this are having ghosts in an abandoned train station, moss-covered golems at a rundown temple, rubber-ringed goo monsters at a beach, a massive statue possessed by an evil spirit in a lava cave, a 3-headed dragon in another cave, and octopuses on a construction site. Of course, this game is definitely not for everyone, and I'm not even sure if I'd recommend the game to anyone who hasn't previously played it, as the nostalgia kind of skews my perspective on the game and puts me in favour of it even though it's literally just a grind fest. Personally, I believe you should at least try it out, because it's free to play, and surprisingly, none of the classes are behind a paywall, and none of the content is directly behind one either. However, in the late game, it is a case of excessive grinding, or to pay for the items to make progression easier. But I ain't hating on Nexon's grind, because it is what it is. The game is free after all. There are reboot servers, which I'm currently on, that convert this pay to win into a play to win type of game. But this play to win model shouldn't be taken lightly, as the play aspect is heavily emphasised, with people saying that the end game is such a grind, to the point where many people just hit a wall and just stop playing. I've had many experiences with MapleStory as a whole, and they are pretty much all positive. There was never a time in which I encountered anyone toxic, with them all being extremely friendly and helpful whenever I asked any questions. I even have a diary entry from a long ass time ago on Thursday the 4th of November 2010, which I'll read out to you. Dear diary, today I woke up, went to school, then we went swimming. When we got home, I played on the computer, and I leveled up War for the Lord to level 20. Now he takes off 310 damage. He evolved again. Now he has all his armor on. Was today a good day? Hell yeah! Now keep in mind, I was about 8 or 9 when I wrote this, so like, don't bully me too much. Now I know what you're thinking. There's no way that incredible masterpiece of a drawing was made by me. It should be framed on a wall in the museum, it's that incredible. And I appreciate the compliments, kind stranger.
sir.
But indeed, that was made by me because I'm that artistic. Seeing as I'd played for the whole of the day after school, and I only reached level 20, it helps show how significantly easier it is to level in MapleStory post Big Bang. Another notable part of the game was the ship rides, or the ferry rides that would go to and from Orbis, and they were actually quite fun. Which may seem strange, seeing as you had to wait for the ship to actually arrive in real time, and then wait for it to leave, and then sit through the entire ride, which took about 15 minutes of total just to get to a different area in the game. But you would never be alone, as there would always be people with you on the ship, whether it be sitting down in the bottom cabin, playing card games, using a hidden teleport marker to go to the crow's nest of the ship, jumping over the invisible barrier in the bottom section of the cabin, or waiting to see if Balrogs would spawn and attack the ship. I also remember being in the free market and having everyone spam @ underneath their message just so it would go to the top and they could spam it more, because you couldn't use repeated words or sentences in your messages. There was one traumatic experience I had in the game though, in which I ended up getting stuck at the bottom of Sleepywood with the Drakes. If you ever played this game before, chances are you know what I'm talking about, and my level being too low to fight the Drakes and not having 25k mesos to use the Danger Zone taxi, I was trapped there for all eternity. Also, if anyone remembers getting the free haircut coupon, you would know about that one specific haircut that everyone would dread getting, which was the pumpkin haircut. If you were ever unlucky enough to roll that haircut, you'd have to wear hats forever, if you didn't want to get roasted.
Oh, nigga, don't hate me cause I'm beautiful, nigga. Maybe if you got rid of that old yee ass haircut you got, you get some bitches on your dick, nigga.
I also remember doing the Ludobrium PQ, in which there was a teleporting puzzle, where if you chose the wrong platform, you'd be teleported back down to the bottom of the puzzle. So you would drop one meso on the correct platform to indicate which ones to click for your teammates. Or the Monster Carnival that was also in Ludobrium, which is a competitive PvE game mode which pitted you against another group, and whoever could defeat the most enemies to get the most carnival points would win. In this game mode you could spawn mobs that would interfere with the enemy, similar to that of Gambit in Destiny 2, and was a fun unique PQ that was lost to time, as there is no longer any need to participate in it, as it doesn't give you any good unique rewards or significant XP. It felt like I was a part of a community in the game, and in my years of playing I made many friends. I leveled with them, spoke to them, created guilds and sometimes PQ'd with them. Sadly I never kept in touch with anyone from this game, as I lost my old accounts, but it's nice to look back on these memories fondly. From what I've gathered from playing the game, whilst definitely not skipping over all of the dialogue, there's this guy called the Black Major, right? Now he's a pretty big threat. He's done some extremely bad things like create Fortnite and Big Chungus. So the heroes at Team YouTube seal him away with a fat demonetization on his channel so that no one would ever hear from him again. If he were to ever escape from these confines, the world would get absolutely destroyed in a World War III type scenario, and everyone would die, so it's a good job he can't escape.
Follow me, and you will unlock your full potential. Give in to the darkness inside of you.
Man, shut your bitch ass up, nigga. Nobody asked you that a bitch ass thing. You better shut the fuck up before I knock your fucking head off your shoulders, old ugly ass bitch.
One of my favourite parts of MapleStory is the exploration, which usually takes a backseat to the combat aspect, but is definitely incredible to witness and partake in. And with the Big Bang update making all these areas a lot more accessible, it makes it so more people can experience and witness the incredible world that the people at Nexon have been able to craft. Not only did the artists at Nexon craft these beautiful backdrops and stages for the world, they also have some incredibly distinct background music to go alongside it, we've been able to go from the dark streets of Kerning City to the grandiose Lego style of Ludobrium. In fact, instead of telling you about the places, I think it would be better if I show you the various areas in the game that you're able to travel and experience. The most likely reason I keep coming back would be the nostalgia of exploring the places I had been 10 years ago and seeing how much everything has changed. So I've put together a compilation of all the great places in the game, most of which you'll probably recognise. In conclusion, MapleStory is definitely a decent game, I won't deny that, but objectively, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10, due to the fact that unless you've played this game before, it won't be as enjoyable as it possibly can be. However, if I were to rate it through nostalgia, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10, due to the great memories I've had and the good vibes I get from playing it. It's unfortunate that I'll never be able to go back to a time in which I could experience the game in its pre-Big Bang state in vanilla MapleStory, but I'll always be grateful that I was even able to play it in the first place. This reminds me of a quote: "If you live in the past, you'll be full of regrets. If you live in the future, you'll be full of anxiety. So live in the present and enjoy it instead." J. Jacobson. Thank you so much for watching. I put a lot of effort into making this video, so if you could hit that like button, subscribe, maybe even hit that notification bell, maybe we'll be able to reach 50 subscribers. I don't know, I'm only one off, so you know, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. See ya.
Shall we some shit stuff?